Good morning. Coming to you live in the gym today. I'm going to start off with the poster for a moment, and we'll get up and get started with this climb. 110 floors for firefighter Kenneth Watson from Engine 214, Brooklyn's the Nut House there in Bedford-Stuyvesant, Brooklyn. So what I wanted to show you is, as everybody knows, this is the poster of the 343 brothers that made the ultimate sacrifice on 9/11. We are currently here. We've got 10 brothers left to complete the 343 climbs after our brother goes up right now. So with honor and respect, let's get this going. And this climb, as I said, is for our brother, Kenneth Watson, from Engine 214, housed with ladder 111, there in Brooklyn and Bedford-Stuyvesant, the Nut House. This climb is dedicated to his wife, Susan, and his 4 children, Gary, Kenny, Chris, and Angela. Your husband and father will never be forgotten. Carrying our brother up to the 110th floor from his last known location of being near the South Tower when he was dropped off by a truck from Engine 214. So again, this 110 floors will take us up a total of 7 verticals to the very top, get us to the 101st floor, and then it's only 9 floors after that for this second climb of this tour, and the 333rd brother carried to the top, down to 10 brothers left to go vertical. As of tomorrow, if I'm able to get in a climb, we'll be in the single digits and headed to the end to finish the initial climbs before taking up the ant, still counting. So, dedicated to the family, the FDNY, and to our country. We're just about to take another brother to that 110th floor. And here we go on the first vertical. As I said, this climb is dedicated to his wife, Susan, who they were high school sweethearts in Smithtown, New York. It said when they were 15 years old. After graduating high school, our brother actually worked as an iron worker, helping build skyscrapers in the skies of New York for 8 years prior to taking on his appointment to the FDNY to follow his father's footsteps, becoming FDNY. Our brother was assigned to the Nut House there in Bedford-Stuyvesant, Brooklyn. Engine 214, which is housed with ladder 111. We will never forget the sacrifices that were made so that others can live. Our brother enjoyed camping, deer hunting, and outdoors with his 4 children and his fellow firefighters. It said he would take his kids, Gary, Kenny, Chris, and Angela, out while Susan waited for them to come back. Our brother was known to be perfect with the rank and file. He didn't want to do the paperwork that would have come with progression in the ironworking. Instead, he followed his father's footsteps into joining the FDNY. Our brother will not just become a name on a plaque or a picture on a wall. This is why we climb, to share their stories. For anyone who wants to learn who our brothers were, the families that were left behind, and their legacies being carried forward. This climb is dedicated to the Watson family, to his father, who was previously in the FDNY, who we followed his footsteps, dedicated to the FDNY, often on the line. There at the Nut House in Bedford, Stuyvesant, Brooklyn, engine 214 with ladder 111. And our brother, at this finish of this climb, will bring full accountability to the Nut House. Another brother going to the top with honor and respect given for the sacrifices that were made when responding to the worst terrorist attack on U.S. soil. Our brothers, because of the bravery, valor, and heroism that was shown that day, saved upwards of 25,000 people. Civilians, bystanders, they did everything they could to save as many as they could, not knowing what was going to happen. So, with honor, he's going up to the very top, pushing him all the way. Another brother taking his vertical. I can't believe it. Almost 5 years this coming month, and we've got 10 brothers left to carry. It's hard to believe we're already here. And right now we're taking up our brother, firefighter Watson, Kenneth Watson, to the very top to finish his footsteps as he was last seen at the South Tower. For his family, his wife Susan, that they were high school sweethearts, knowing each other since 2015. To his children, Gary, Kenny, Chris, and Angela, your husband and father will never, ever be forgotten. Our brother is the final brother to be carried to the top for the Nut House. Engine 214, ladder 111. Bringing full accountability to the house. One at a time, one day at a time, another brother will rise in the initial 343 commitment. Prior to taking up the and still counting, those who worked the pile at ground zero for days, weeks, and months, to the upwards of almost 9 months later, when the final beam was removed and placed in the 9/11 Memorial Museum, the recovery effort was declared complete. Those who worked the pile who succumbed to 9/11 illnesses and cancers, who made that sacrifice to assist with bringing closure to our country. They will never be forgotten. They too will take their climbs to that 110th floor, one at a time, until until, God willing, I cannot climb anymore. Each and every one of them will go vertical. After completion of these last 10 climbs. One at a time. With honor and respect, we're going up. For our brother, Kenneth Watson, was an 8-year tradesman in the ironworking, where he was part of building skyscrapers there in New York City, prior to taking his calling to the FDNY, following his father's footsteps, and working out of the nut house into 214, Hazard, ladder 111. As I said before, the nut house actually has a little, looks like a little Planters peanut guy on the patch. Our brothers will never, ever be forgotten. Our brother, it said, would go camping with other members of the FDNY. They went as far as the Catskill Mountains, hunted deer, went camping, and his wife Susan said he would get down and dirty when it came to camping. Our brother was last seen around the South Tower. And right now we're taking him up to the very top, to that symbolic 110th floor. Going up with honor and respect for the sacrifices that were made so that others could live. From an iron worker to the FDNY. Our brother, in service to the citizens of New York, will never be forgotten. It said he enjoyed taking his children, Gary, Kenny, Chris, and Angela, camping and outdoors. For Suzanne, your husband will never be forgotten. For his kids, Gary, Kenny, Chris, and Angela, your father's legacy will live on through your family and through his story. No matter if it's 19 or 20 or 25 years even, we will not forget. We made a promise 19 years ago. We made that commitment that we would always remember our brothers, their families, and we would never forget the sacrifices that came on and after 9/11. Those and the recovery effort that followed also being recognized, and will also take their climbs when the end's still counting starts going vertical. We will never forget their stories, their legacies that were left behind. This is why we climb. So their story can be shared here on the Stair Climber, in stairwells, in coliseums, in stadiums across the United States, on the road, in 5Ks, and greater, and all the way across the world. Our brothers will never be forgotten. Their stories will be shared for anybody who wants to learn and listen. It's our responsibility in the fire service to teach that next generation of firefighters. We will never allow our brothers to just become a name on a plaque or a picture on a wall. Ain't happening. This is why we climb. To tell their stories for their families, the FDNY, and our country. Second climb of this tour, with possibly one more in tomorrow, and the 333rd brother to be carried to the top. One at a time we go, with 10 brothers left upon completion of this climb. Taking the nut house to the very top for full accountability with firefighter Kenneth Watson. Our brother, right here. We now have the 3 last verticals. We're over the halfway point in this 110 floors. For our brother who was a tradesman in the ironworking for 8 years, he was part of the skyscrapers. He was responsible for building skyscrapers in the city of New York for that 8 years as an iron worker. When the call came 8 years later, after he had applied previously to the FDNY in order to follow in his father's footsteps, our brother did not hesitate. Didn't want to just be stuck with paper and a pen. Our brother loved being a firefighter. He took it on, got on with the FDNY to follow his father's footsteps, and responded on 9/11, 39 years old at the time of response on 9/11. Our brother was last seen around the South Tower. And right now, this is his climb to finish his footsteps as we carry our brother to the very top on this 3rd to last vertical now to get us to that 101st floor. With honor and respect, our brother is symbolically being carried to the very top to finish his footsteps to the top of the tower, to that 110th floor. Go in there now, as I speak, for his wife, Susan, his kids, Gary, Kenny, Chris, and Angela, who, from what it looks like, they're not kids, but instead, they're young adults. Your husband and father will never, ever be forgotten. This is the reason we climb. So 19 years later, we have kept our promise to never forget the sacrifices that were made so that others could live. The sacrifices your families have made. Going on 20 years. You will not be forgotten. Our brothers will not be forgotten, no matter what our country wants to do about it. We will never let their stories fade away. This is why we climb. So now we have the little rest space before that second to last vertical before we reach the 101st floor. 2 verticals left to the 101, and only 9 floors after that to bring full accountability to the nut house. It's a 214, a ladder 111. Housing Bedford, Stuyvesant, Brooklyn. Literally on the patch. Looks like a little version of the planner's nut character. Taking them all the way to the very top to finish their footsteps. Range of 214, the ladder 111. The last brother going to the top to finish. Full accountability. Everyone accounted for at the nut house. Upon completion of this last 2 verticals and floors. He and his wife are sweethearts. At 15 years old, got married and had 4 kids, from what I can read. Gary, Kenny, Chris, and Angela. He will never be forgotten. The second to last vertical for our brother to reach the 101st floor. So we get to the very top. I cannot believe upon completion we're down to 10 brothers left to carry. I can't believe we're here. One brother at a time. Up to 333 now. The last brothers left to go up. 10 brothers left. For their stories to be shared, so they will always be remembered and never, ever forgotten. Coming to you live in the gym in Sunland Park, New Mexico. This is the 343 commitment, and still counting. For our brother, firefighter Kenneth Watson of Brooklyn's Nut House. It's a 214, has the ladder 111. Going to finish this one for our brother right here. Going all the way to the very top. Going with honor and respect. To go there for his family, the FDNY, and our country. We have one last vertical to get us all the way to the and first floor. On this beautiful Saturday morning, or whatever time it is now. We're going up. Second day of tour, second climb. $333rd brother being carried, this time for full accountability for Brooklyn's Mustard Stuyvesant in that house. Coming up on the last of his final verticals to get us to the 101st floor with honor and respect. Taking him all the way to the top for our brother who was an iron worker who helped build skyscrapers across the New York skyline, for his service to the citizens of New York after he followed his father's footsteps into the FDNY. For his wife Susan and children, Jerry, Kenny, Chris, and Angela, I promise you, he will never be forgotten. His story will continue to be shared in places like this stair climber, in stadiums, stairwells, coliseums, and on the road, in 5Ks and greater runs. But not only here, across the world. We will never forget. Doesn't matter. 19 years later, coming up on the 20th year, we still remember. Our brothers paid the ultimate sacrifice so that others could live. All right, now we have 9 floors left to go vertical. Coming to you live in the gym in Solar Park, New Mexico. This is the 343 commitment, and still counting. 110 floor memorial climb to bring full accountability to that house in Bedford, Stuyvesant, Brooklyn, for firefighter Kenneth Watson. Housed there with ladder 111. In completion of 7 more floors, then that house has made the top for the last time in the 343 commitment. Initial 343 brothers climbs. Taking them up to finish these last floors for his love of the outdoors. His love is taking his kids camping, going into the Catskill Mountains with the brothers from the FDNY, deer hunting. Our brother's legacy will live on. For those who will listen and learn, his story is being shared. Upon completion, this climb will be uploaded to the YouTube channel as a and 33rd climb. Available to review and to watch for the families, the FDNY, and for our country. We've got to educate the young. We've got to teach the next generation of who our brothers, their families, and the sacrifices made so that ordinary citizens, business people, and complete strangers would be able to live. We are almost at the very top for this last brother of engine 214, housed at ladder 111, Brooklyn, Bedford Stuyvesant, the Nut House. The 333rd brother for the Nut House. Full accountability at the top. Firefighter Kenneth Watson. Rest easy. We got it from here. You will never, ever be forgotten.